Margaret Campbell was 38 years old. Her son David was 12. In 1985, he went to scout camp. "Mom, I'll be back in 3 days. Don't worry." Margaret worried because the weather forecast predicted a storm. But the leaders were experienced. "It'll be fine," she told herself. On the 3rd day, David didn't return. The phone rang. "Your son is missing. There was a storm. We couldn't find them." Margaret's world collapsed. For 34 years, every year she went to the mountain, to the same camp. She sat, she waited. People said, "She's gone crazy." But Margaret never lost hope. In 2019, she was 72 years old, still going. One day the phone rang. "We found them. Your son, he's alive, and he's still 12 years old." Margaret ran to the hospital and saw David, 12 years old, unchanged. "Mom," David said, "why did you get old? The storm just happened." 34 years. But David didn't know. Before you continue watching, hit that subscribe button. Because this story isn't just about a disappearance. This is about a mother's 34-year wait, and about how time stopped in an ancient castle. This is the story of the castle in the storm. August 1985, Highland, Scotland. Summer. But even summer in Scotland was cold. The mountains were green, the lakes were clear. The weather was changeable. It started sunny, then rain came, then sun again. Scottish weather. David Campbell was 12 years old, a scout. For 3 years. He had badges. He was proud. This summer he would join the Highland camp. For the first time, he was excited. "Mom, we're camping for 3 days and 3 nights, in the mountains, in tents. We'll build fires, we'll fish, it'll be amazing." Margaret smiled, but she was worried. "Is it safe, sweetheart? Mountains can be dangerous." "Mom, our leaders are very experienced. James, Michael, Sarah, and Linda. They've all been camping for years. There won't be a problem." Margaret nodded. "Okay, but be careful. Listen to the leaders. If you feel danger, come back immediately." "Okay, Mom, don't worry." Saturday morning, August 10th, 1985, the bus departed. 34 children, ages 10 to 14, 4 leaders. James, 32, Michael, 28, Sarah, 30, Linda, 26. All experienced. They knew the Highland Mountains. Margaret saw the bus off. David waved from the window. "See you in 3 days, Mom." Margaret held back tears. "Please protect him," she prayed. The bus arrived in the Highlands. The mountains were magnificent. The children were excited. They set up tents, built a fire. The first night was peaceful. They sang songs, told stories. David was happy. The second day they hiked, went to the lake, fished, explored nature. The weather was beautiful. Everything was going according to plan. The second night, everything changed. At 8 p.m., the sky darkened. Suddenly, clouds came, black, dense, dangerous. James grabbed the radio. "Central, this is Highland Camp 7. Weather deteriorating rapidly. Situation monitored." "Central, copy Camp 7. Weather forecast predicts storm. Be careful. Evacuate if necessary." James looked at the children. They were scared. "Stay calm. We're going into the tents. Everything will be fine." At 9 p.m., the storm began. The wind was fierce. It shook the tents. The rain was heavy. Lightning struck. Thunder was terrifying. Children screamed. David clung to his leader. "I'm scared. I want to go home." James tried to stay calm. "Everything's fine, David. The tents are strong. It'll pass by morning." But the storm intensified. At 10 p.m., a tent blew away. The 6 children inside got soaked. Panic began. Michael shouted, "The tents won't hold. We need to find shelter." James made his decision. "Gather everyone. We're looking for shelter. Now!" He sent a radio message. "Central, tents in danger. Looking for shelter. We'll be safe. Last position, grid 447-892. Central, copy Camp 7. Be careful. We'll send help in the morning." 38 people started walking in the storm. It was dark. Rain made it hard to keep eyes open. Wind almost knocked them over. Children were crying. Leaders were trying to guide. They walked for 30 minutes. Then Linda saw it. There's a structure." They looked with flashlights. A stone castle. Old, ruined, but part of it was standing. It was a ruin, maybe 800 years old, medieval remains. "Let's go inside," James shouted. 38 people ran to the castle. The entrance was open. There was no door. But there were walls. Inside was dark but dry. They were sheltered from the wind. "We'll stay here," said James. "We're safe until morning. Then we'll return to camp." The children sat down. They were wet but safe. The storm continued outside, but inside it was calm. David asked his leader, "How long will we stay here?" "Until morning. The storm will pass. Then help will come." The children tried to sleep. It was difficult, cold, wet. They were scared. But they fell asleep from exhaustion, and they never woke up. At least, not in the time we know. The next morning, Sunday, August 11th, 1985, the storm had stopped. The sun came out. Rescue teams moved in. They went to grid 447-892. They found the camp. Tents were destroyed. Equipment was scattered. But there were no people. They must have found shelter. Search the area. They searched for 8 hours, found nothing. No trace, no footprints, no radio signal. The next day, the search continued. Helicopters, dogs, 200 volunteers. Nothing. 3 days later, Margaret got a phone call. "Mrs. Campbell, we couldn't find your son. 34 children and 4 leaders are missing. We're sorry. We'll continue searching." Margaret's phone fell from her hand. She sat on the floor. She cried, "David, my son, where is he?" The search continued for 1 week. Nothing. 2 weeks. Nothing. 1 month. Nothing. An official statement was made. 38 people were lost in the storm. They probably fell off a cliff or into a deep valley. Due to geographical difficulties, they cannot be found. The search will continue, but hopes are fading. Margaret refused to accept it. "No, David isn't lost. He can be found. We just need to search more." Her husband Robert couldn't take it. "Margaret, David is gone. You need to accept it. Our son is dead." "No!" Margaret shouted. "He's not dead. I feel it. He's still there, waiting." "This is madness. You're torturing yourself." "I don't care. I'll keep waiting." By the summer of 1986, Margaret went to the Highlands, to the old camp. She sat. She waited. Maybe David is lost. Maybe he can't find his way. I need to be here so he can find me. But David didn't come. In 1987, she went again. Still didn't come. In 1990, Robert asked for a divorce. "Margaret, you died with David. You're not living with me. I can't continue like this." Margaret didn't even answer. They divorced. In 1995, 10 years had passed. Margaret was 48 years old. Every summer she went to the Highlands. To the old camp. She sat. She waited. People said, "She's gone crazy." But Margaret didn't care. In 2000, 15 years had passed. Margaret was 53 years old. She lived alone, had no friends, only David's memories, and every summer she went to the Highlands. One day a young woman approached her. "Hello, I'm Emma. I see you here every year. What are you waiting for?" Margaret looked at her. "My son, David. He disappeared 15 years ago. Here, in these mountains." Emma was silent. 15 years, that's a very long time. But you're still waiting? Yes, because a mother never abandons her child. David is waiting for me. I know it. Emma's eyes filled. "I hope you find him." "I will. It's just a matter of time." In 2010, 25 years had passed. Margaret was 63 years old. Her health was deteriorating. Walking was difficult. But she still went to the Highlands. She sat. She waited. Her doctor warned, "Margaret, your body is tired. You need to rest. These trips are wearing you out." "I can't rest. David is waiting. I can't leave him alone." In 2015, 30 years had passed. Margaret was 68 years old. She now used a cane, but she still went to the Highlands, alone by car. 5-hour drive. It was hard, but she did it. One day police stopped her. "Ma'am, are you driving safely? You're elderly, alone." "I'm going to see my son." "Where is he?" "In the Highlands, waiting for me." The officer understood. "From the missing children case, 1985, was he your son?" "Yes, David." The officer nodded, sad. "I'm sorry. Drive safely." August 2019, 34 years had passed. Margaret was 72 years old. She had aged so much. Her hair was completely white. Her face was wrinkled. Walking was very difficult. But she still went to the Highlands. August 5, 2019. Margaret went to the old camp, sat, in her usual place, waited, closed her eyes. "David, I'm here. I'm here every year, waiting for you to come back." At that moment, 50 kilometers away, mountain hiker Alex Grant was hiking. 28 years old, experienced. He loved the Highland Mountains. He entered a new route, not marked on the old map. He was curious. He walked. After 2 hours, he saw it. A stone castle, old, ruined, medieval remains. Interesting, not on the map. He took a photo. Decided to go inside. Maybe he could find something historical. He entered the castle. It was dark. He turned on his flashlight. Passed the first room. Empty. Passed the second room. Empty. Then he saw a narrow passage, low. He bent down to pass through, and found them. 38 people. They were sitting, leaning against the wall. Wet clothes, scout uniforms, children, and 4 adults. Alex froze. "My God! Is this them?" He approached, touched a child, cold, but moved, opened his eyes, slowly. Who are you?" the child whispered. Alex jumped back. "You're alive?" The child was scared. "Yes. Did the storm pass? We waited here. Our leaders said help would come in the morning." Alex's hands were shaking. He grabbed his radio. "Emergency! Emergency! Grid," he looked at the map, "Grid 451897. Found people. 38 people. From the missing scout camp." Central. "What are you saying? From 1985? "Yes, all alive. Send help." Within 2 hours, rescue teams arrived. Helicopters, ambulances, media. 38 people were carefully removed from the castle. All were alive, in shock, hypothermic, but living. And they hadn't aged at all. David was still 12 years old. They were taken to the hospital. Doctors were amazed. This doesn't make sense. 34 years have passed, but their body ages haven't changed. How is this possible? Margaret heard it on the news, saw it on television. 38 missing scouts found after 34 years, all alive, haven't aged. Her heart stopped. David, my David. She grabbed the phone, called the hospital. Is my son there? David Campbell? Yes, Mrs. Campbell, your son is safe. You can come. Margaret cried. After 34 years, she got in the car, drove to the hospital. 5 hours, the fastest 5 hours. She arrived at the hospital. She ran. She was old, but she ran. David Campbell! Where is he? The nurse pointed. Room 8. But be prepared. He's still 12 years old. Margaret stopped. I know. I heard it on the news. But he's my son. Age doesn't matter. She entered the room and saw him, David. He was sitting in bed, 12 years old, short hair, small face, unchanged. David, Margaret whispered. David turned his head, saw Margaret. His eyes widened. Mom? But then he was confused. Mom, why are you old? Your hair is white. Your face is different. Margaret cried, hugged David. Because, sweetheart, 34 years have passed. David pulled back. What? No, last night there was a storm. Morning came. Only one night passed. Margaret shook her head. No, David, you disappeared in 1985. Now it's 2019. 34 years have passed. David's eyes filled. This isn't possible. I'm still 12 years old. How can 34 years pass? We don't know, sweetheart, but it's real. You and your 37 friends, you froze in time. You were lost, but now you've returned. David cried, Where's Dad? I want to see him. Margaret was silent. Your father died 5 years ago. Heart attack. David collapsed. No, this can't be real. Margaret hugged him. I'm sorry, sweetheart. A lot has changed. But I'm here. I've always been here. I waited for you for 34 years. 34 years? Every year? Yes. I went to the Highlands, to the old camp. I sat, I waited. I never gave up. David looked at his mother, at the aged face, white hair, wrinkles, and he understood. His mother had never left him. I love you, Mom. I love you too, sweetheart. More. The other 37 people also reunited with families. But it was difficult. Some parents had died. Some were very old, unrecognizable. One child cried, Who's my mom? That old woman can't be. My mom was 35. That's your mother. She's just 69 now. 34 years have passed. Adaptation was difficult. David returned to Margaret's house, but the house was different, small, worn. His own room was like a museum. Everything stayed as it was in 1985. Mom, why didn't you touch anything? Margaret smiled. Because I knew you'd come back. I wanted to keep your room for you. David cried. 34 years. His mother had waited, never gave up. He returned to school, but it felt strange. Classmates were young, 11, 12 years old. But for David was 12 in 1985, still 12 now, but the world was 2019. Learning technology was hard. Internet, Smartphones, social media, everything was foreign. Psychologists helped. David, physically you're 12 years old, but experientially you're from 1985. You need to adapt to the new world. 6 months later, a meeting was organized. 38 people, all together. Only they could understand each other. "How are your families?" David asked. "Difficult," said another child. "My mom cries all the time. My dad doesn't recognize me. Dementia. I'm lost." Another, "My family moved to another country. They couldn't find me. Now I'm alone." David was lucky. His mother had waited 34 years, never gave up. By 2020, David turned 13. Technically, his body was aging slowly. It wasn't normal. Scientists studied it. Time stopped in the castle, but now it's continuing, slowly. Maybe David and the others will live normal lifespans, but they'll look 30, 40 years younger. In 2022, Margaret was 75 years old. She had aged so much, she was hospitalized, lung problem. David stayed by her side. "Mom, you'll get better. You waited 34 years. I won't abandon you." Margaret smiled. "I know, sweetheart, but I'm old. My body is tired, but I'm happy because I saw you. You came back. You're not leaving yet, Mom." But 1 week later, Margaret died. Peacefully, happy, David was by her side. Her last words, "Waiting 34 years was worth it. You came back. I'm proud of you." At the funeral, there were 38 people. All came to Margaret's funeral because Margaret wasn't just David's mother. Margaret was hope. Margaret was loyalty, and she had inspired them all. David gave a speech. "My mother waited 34 years. Every year she went to the Highlands. Everyone said she was crazy, but she didn't lose hope, and I came back. My mother taught me that family matters, waiting matters, and love conquers time. I love you, Mom. Rest in peace." By 2025, David would be 18 years old, technically, but physically he was still 15. His body was aging slowly. He wanted to go to college. It was difficult. But Margaret had insurance money. David used it, in his mother's memory. And on some nights, David went to the Highlands, to the old camp. He sat, in the same place where Margaret had sat, and looked at the mountains. "Mom, I'm here. I came back. I miss you." The wind blew gently, softly, like Margaret's whisper. "I love you, sweetheart. I'm always here." And David smiled, because he knew his mother was always there, in his heart, in memories, and in the Highland Mountains. The mountains where she waited for 34 years. The castle is still there, old, ruined, but now closed. Police tape drawn. Dangerous, do not enter. Scientists studied it, but found nothing. Just stone, just history. But one more secret. How did the castle stop time? Why did it hold 38 people? And why did it give them back 34 years later? No answers, only questions, and a mother's 34-year wait. Margaret Campbell, the mother who never lost hope, the Highland lady, and David's hero.